And this is set notation. If we just put this is set notation. There's also some folks who like to go ahead and break them apart so that they can see them more clearly, which means negative 3 is less than x, and x is less than 5, and we are still in set notation. So let's draw our line. The only two numbers we really need are 5 and negative 3. Now let's start over here. This is usually a little easier. This means numbers smaller than 5. Numbers smaller than 5. Alright, so we go to our 5. Here's our circle. And where are the numbers smaller than 5? Well, they go this way. Okay. Now, this open circle, we do not close because there's no equal sign. So that is an open circle. Now let's go over to the other side. This means negative 3 is smaller than the numbers we're looking for. Well, let's think about it. Negative 3 is smaller than the numbers that we're looking for. You could put negative 3 is smaller than 0. You could put negative 3 is smaller than 1. So we're talking about numbers up here. Now some people really struggle with this, so let me recommend, if you would like, to go ahead and switch it, because this says the exact same thing. But because of the way it's pointing, people seem to have an easier time. This means numbers bigger than negative 3. Well, the numbers bigger than negative 3 are this way. Numbers bigger than negative 3. Again, it does not have an equal sign, so we do not color in the circle. So now we know that the answers are between here and here. Those are all the answers. Now, we've already written set notation, but what we really need is interval notation. That's the one that we need the most of. And interval notation means I start way over here, and I start with the lowest possible value, and I work my way up. So I'm going along the number line, and the first number that is an answer is negative 3, and then I keep going, and the last answer is 5. So the lowest is negative 3, and the highest is 5. Now, set notation, interval notation means that you have to put parentheses or brackets. Remember, parentheses mean I can't quite get there. It's never equal to it. But a bracket means, yes, it is equal to it. So when I look at negative 3, I know it cannot be negative 3. Therefore, it's a parentheses. And it cannot be 5. So it is a parentheses. And this is interval notation. Interval set. Compound inequality. This is already in set notation. Or we can break them apart to see them more clearly. X less than or equal to 8. And this is also set notation. So let's start drawing our answers. The only two numbers we really need are 8 and 2. Let's start over here. This is always a little easier. I'm looking for numbers smaller than or equal to 8. So I have a circle at 8. And why would I color it in? Because it has an equal sign. So it can be 8. So I have a solid circle. Now I'm looking for numbers smaller than 8. Well, the numbers that are smaller than 8 go this way. Alright, over here I have 2 is smaller than the numbers I want. 2 is smaller than or equal to 3. Or 2 is smaller than or equal to 4. So we're talking about numbers that go this way. Again, it's a little easier for some people if they rewrite it. So this is x is greater than or equal to 2. Numbers bigger than 2. And again, we're going to put a circle at 2. Why are we going to color it in? Because it has an equal sign. And we are looking for numbers bigger than 2. So we're looking for this. So we know that the answers are between 2 and 8 and equal to 2 and 8. So let's write our interval notation. What is the lowest possible answer? 2. What is the highest possible answer? 8. Thinking ahead. 8. Now, since it's equal to, we colored that in, and since it's equal to, we use a bracket because it can be 2. Since we colored this one in, therefore it's equal to it, it's a bracket. And that is interval notation. Compound inequality, already in set notation. We can also write it which is also set notation. So let's begin to draw. The two numbers we need are -1 and -5. Let's start over here. Numbers smaller than or equal to -1. So I go to -1 and I draw my circle. I would color it in because it's equal to. And then I would say, okay, numbers smaller than -1. Well, the numbers smaller than -1 go that way. Alright, now let's come over here. I'm going to go ahead and switch it to the other way for some of you. I go to -5 and I draw a circle. Now, why do I draw a circle at -5 that's open? Because there is no line that says it's equal to it. So it can never be -5. I'm looking for numbers bigger than -5. Well, the numbers bigger than -5 go this way. And so these are our answers. Now let's write our interval notation. Remember, this is set. Let's write interval notation. What is the lowest possible answer? That's -5. What is the highest possible answer? -1. Alright, let's review. Parentheses mean it never reaches it. Brackets mean yes it does. Alright, so at -5 it does not equal -5. Therefore, that is a parentheses. But it does equal -1, and that makes it a bracket. Compound inequality. Put our little brackets here, and that makes it set notation. Or we can break it apart so that it's easier to see. Still set notation. Let's get ready to graph. The two numbers I need are 10 and -21. What kind of circle am I going to put at 10? Let's just think about this a little differently. The kind of circle I'm going to put at 10 is an open circle. The kind of circle I'm going to put at -21 is a closed circle. These are really critical, and you have to remember to look for the equal signs. Alright, let's start over here. I'm looking for numbers less than 10. numbers like 8 or 5. So I am looking for numbers that go this way. Over here, I'm looking for negative 21 to be less than the numbers I want. If it's helpful to you, switch it around. If it's easier for you to see, I am looking for numbers bigger than negative 21. So I'm looking for numbers bigger than 21. So I am again looking for the numbers between. Let's get ready for interval notation. What is the lowest possible answer? Negative 21. That was terrible. What is the lowest possible answer? Negative 21. What was the highest possible answer? 10. Alright, it can be negative 21. It can actually reach negative 21. Therefore, it has a bracket. It cannot reach 10. No matter how hard you try, it's never going to equal 10, and that is a parentheses. Still a compound inequality, but looks very different, doesn't it? Alright, this is still set notation. All we have to do is do that, and that is set notation. So let's start graphing. Only two numbers I really need are 5 and negative 3. Let's look down here first. Numbers bigger than 5. Well, that's easy enough. We go to 5, we make a circle. Why do we not close it in? Because it doesn't say equal to. And we are looking for numbers that are bigger than 5. Numbers like 6 and 7. So we are talking about numbers like this. Right? Now let's go over here. This is negative 3 greater than x. In other words, we are looking for negative 3 to be bigger than the numbers we want. You could say negative 3 is bigger than negative 5. Or negative 3 is bigger than negative 10. So we are looking for these numbers. Now again, if you struggle with that, let's go back and let's rewrite it. X less than negative 3. So we go to negative 3 and we draw our open circle. It's open because it's not equal to it. And we are now looking for numbers that are smaller than negative 3. And once we say that, we usually know that it means it's going that way. So this is our graph. Now, interval notation is a little harder on this one. So let's start thinking it through. Interval notation starts at the very lowest possible answer. Well, if we go over here and we look this way, where is the lowest possible answer? Well, the lowest possible answer is negative infinity. This is going to go on forever. So the lowest possible answer is negative infinity. And then we start along this line. What is the highest possible answer as we're going across this line? Well, it's negative 3. But can you actually equal negative 3? Can you ever reach it? Can you get up close to it, as close as you can? But you can't actually reach negative 3. So what do we put when we can't reach something? We put a parentheses. Now, do you think you can ever reach negative infinity? Well, you can go and go and go, but you're never going to reach negative infinity. It's a concept, not a number. So what do you think we should put on it? We should put a parentheses. Now, we still have more numbers up here that can be answers, so we're going to have to write an or, and we're going to have to go up here, and we're going to follow our little number line, and we realize that we have another set of answers up here, and the lowest in this set is 5. What is the highest in this set? Well, this goes forever, doesn't it? It goes to infinity. So the lowest in this little set that we're talking about over here is 5, the lowest. The highest is infinity. Now we know we can't reach infinity, so that's a parenthesis. Can we reach 5? Can we equal 5? We cannot. So this is interval notation for this set of numbers. Another compound inequality, set notation. We just add these, that's set notation. We start to draw. Our two numbers that we really need are 8 and 2. Alright. Let's start over here. Numbers bigger than 8. Well, let's go down here to 8 and draw a circle. Why do we color this circle in? Because it says equal to. So we're going to color that in. Now we're looking for numbers that are bigger than 8. I could put a 9 would be bigger than 8. A 10 would be bigger than 8. So I'm going this direction, aren't I? Okay. If you need to remember something, go ahead and put some numbers in there. That's the best way to do it. Alright, now I'm looking over here on this side. 2 is greater than the numbers that we're looking for. If you struggle with it, turn it around. Now it says numbers that we're looking for are smaller than 2. So let's go down and draw our circle. Now what are we going to do with our circle this time? We're going to color it in because it is equals to. And we are looking for numbers smaller than 2. For instance, 0 is smaller than 2. Negative 4 is smaller than 2. So we're going to go that direction. Alright, there's our graph, there's our set notation. Now let's talk about interval notation. Interval notation starts from lowest, comma, highest. That's what it does. Well, what is our lowest answer in our picture? Well, our lowest answer in our picture is negative infinity. This goes forever this way, doesn't it? So our lowest is negative infinity. And then we come along here and we hit the end of the set at 2. Now, negative infinity is a concept. We'll never get there, so that's parentheses. But what about 2? We actually reach 2. It can be 2. It can be equal to 2. So now we do a bracket. But that's not the only thing. We have another set of numbers down here that we have to deal with. Right, what is the lowest value in this other area that we're talking about? The lowest value in this area is 8. And what is the highest in this area? Infinity. Alright, we know that infinity you'll never reach, so that's a parentheses. But what about 8? You do indeed reach 8. You can be equal to 8. Therefore, that is a bracket. And that is interval notation.